Hello everyone, Sorry here. Thank you so much for joining me for just a video of having fun with the Love from Lizzie's card. I had got this card kit in April? Time is flying by. I believe this is the April kit. And the whole point was I wanted to finish off making cards using the card bases that are inside the kit. There were 3 A7s, and then there were 3 5¼ by 5¼ square. Now, it doesn't really matter when videos get released. I mean, ideally, if you can release it during the time that other people can still purchase it, that is ideal. Unfortunately, like I said, time does fly by, and sometimes things just do not get done on time. So I hope that you enjoy me just creating cards with the understanding that this card kit most likely is not available on Love from Lizzie's website. I can double check. I'll link it in the description box if it is. However, that being said, she has a monthly subscription. So if you love what you see, then you can go to her website and check out what is coming up in May and June and so forth, because her kits are very similar. The themes are different, but the content, I believe, is pretty similar and fun. Like, it's a lot of fun to play with. Now, I create my videos because I am showing my journey. That's essentially what this channel is meant to be about. Another reason I want to create this video is because I find creating large cards very intimidating and not easy. So not only is this a challenge of me to create, but I just wanted to show how I go about doing it. And so for the first card that I've been working on as I was chatting, it's a very simple card. All I've done is embossed a piece of one of their pattern papers, which actually was a solid purple color. I matted a polka dot pattern paper on some black cardstock. And then in the collection of pattern paper, there are cutaways. And that's what I did with this bunny. I cut away all the decorative pieces around that white border. And then I cut around the bunny because you can see that her ear and the legs are out of the box. So I just cut around those. And then I took all the bling that I could think of and placed it all over the card, trying to fill it up. And so that was the first card. That was the safe card I created. For the second card, I'm trying to use more elements and trying to get a little bit more layers and creativity going, and it really is challenging. So let's start with a yellow piece of cardstock that comes from the kit, and then I have my heart doily. I did glue it down. Luckily it didn't set because I want to put these Love from Lizzie peel-off stickers down first. Now, this did not come in the card kit. I did buy this on the side. It just happens that it works perfectly with the purple in this card kit. Now, I am only going to be using one peel-off sticker because honestly, I don't know if this card's going to turn out well, and I don't want to waste these. I love this color a lot. So what I'm doing is I'm going to use just one, and where the doily is going to be covered, I'm just going to skip that section. Now, if I knew that this card was going to be a smashing hit, I would not do that because you can see through the doily. So if you're really looking, you'll notice that there's no peel off on that side. I'm not worried about it because, like I said, I'm playing, I'm learning. If I'm making a final card, if I was making a card specifically for a person or potentially to try sell cards, I probably would just use the second piece of peel off sticker and just make sure that it was consistent. But I will be putting other elements onto this, so if anyone were to receive this, they wouldn't notice it right away without investigating it a little more. I also added the purple peel-offs, which does come in the kit, to the other side. So this will be on top of the pattern paper, and I just wanted to create some two-tone peel-off sticker effect. I just wanted to see what it looked like, and I kind of like it. It's kind of fun what you can do with these peel-offs. Off camera, I did cut this with the die from the kit and stamped and colored all the images. And I'm just going to create a clustering effect in the center of the card. So we'll start with the die cut. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here and there, trying to fit these little gaps so that it doesn't pop off. And I'll place it right in the center. I'm going to keep this die quite plain. I'm not going to add any color to it. I just want it to be a background layer. So it's not going to pull away from my bunnies and the flowers. The images were colored with Olo markers, so those are alcohol markers, and the paper that I used is actually the Copic friendly alcohol paper from Lizi. So I purchased that to give it a try, and it works quite well. I'm actually pretty happy with it, and it's also a nice bright white. Now I have my sentiment, which I also created off camera, heat embossed with white on black, and I'm just going to prop that up with some foam tape, and I'll probably place it up on the more top right corner there. And the reason I'm putting it there is because I'm wanting to balance out the whole card. So I have my center is filled up with the doily and the basket. I have my images near the bottom, so I've clustered kind of the bottom left to the bottom. And then by putting the sentiment just above the image to the right, I'm now balancing everything out. Now, this is where I get crazy and I bring out the bling again, and I'm trying to use all the bling, and I did go heavy. I really did, but I was having fun just sticking them all down, and I used the shiny flowers and the little dots there. And that's card number 2. So that was the second square, right? Is that correct? I think that was. I'm losing track. Anyways, so now for card number 3, which is also the square card. So this should be the last square base in the card kit. And I'm just bringing out some purple ink and going around the edge of this pattern paper just to kind of create some dimension. So it's not so flat. It's a nice way of bringing some depth without having to match your layer with a piece of cardstock. And I'm just using 2 colors, kind of one lighter, and then when I'm going around just the corners, I'm going to be using the darker version. So that's why the corners are a lot darker. I actually used the exact same inks for the tag there. And what I noticed about these tags, it almost has like a photo finish on it. So it's smooth, but yeah, there we go. You can kind of see that. It's smooth, but it's resistant at the same time. So when you're ink blending it, it actually creates this watercolor effect to it. And I thought that was so cool. So I left the rest of the top white because of how it actually looked. Now, I'm going to be putting this vellum piece down, and I wasn't thinking, because you can't glue with especially white glue like that on vellum without you seeing all the lines. So I'm going to take that off. It did rip the paper a bit, but I'm going to bring out my glue stick and glue this back down and just make sure that you don't see any harsh glue lines. You will still see the glue using a glue stick, but it's not as noticeable. It's going to look like it's wet behind the scenes. And I'm not too worried about that. That's typically how I glue down my vellum. But if you were wanting it to not be so noticeable and you're not worried about that vellum lifting in certain areas, I would adhere the bunny, in this case, first to the vellum and then add my glue where the bunny is and then glue that down. That way you hide all of your glue, but you do risk having that vellum piece loose so it can lift. So now I'm taking everything into position. I put my tag slightly askew, and I've put my bunny and my vellum on the left-hand side, and I'm adding my sentiment right above the image in the white area. And I fussy cut that whole thing out. It's just heat embossed on some black cardstock. And now I'm just filling in some space. I'm trying to fill this card up without making it look so bare. And I colored these all off camera as well. The rose, the leaves, these are all in the stamp set in the card kit. And then I want to make sure that this ribbon or string is glued down, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to it and use my acrylic block to make sure that that's in place. And here, of course, comes the bling. And I think I went overboard with the bling on this card too, but that's okay. I brought some of the flowers and the shiny flowers and the little dots, and I'm just putting them all over the place, gluing them down, trying to use them up. And I really like these white flowers. I think this one is a little off balanced, but it's okay. I'm moving forward. We're going to get through these card bases, these ginormous card bases. Like I said, I'm not used to creating big cards. I'm more of an A2 size because you can easily get your card filled in and not have to worry about all that extra white space. Okay, last card. Now here's the big A7. I saved this one for last. I was trying to find ways of creating this card, and what I decided to do was cut up some more of those cutaway parts. So these are all squares, and I cut out the circles of all of them. So I tried my best to cut around the circle, and if there was anything hanging over, I cut around it. Now these actually were leftovers of previous cards because, for example, that pattern paper on the other side, I used it. So these are leftovers in some cases. So that's why I'm strategically placing them on the edge, because I didn't want to waste them. They're nice images, and this is a perfect way to use those circles up. And I did adhere that one to a die with a nice doily circle edge. I think that's kind of cute. I wanted to use this ribbon. I think I forgot while I was creating. I really like the color of the teal background and that peachy, orangey, corally ribbon, but I didn't use it. So you're just going to see it sit there the whole time as I'm recording. And I don't know why I didn't use it. It's right there. It's quite interesting how you can get blinded by things that are right in front of you. To just gussy up this little teeny envelope, I'm going to take this rose and leaf stamp from the stamp set and just add it to the envelope so that it's not so white. And then I'm going to glue that down and start creating my clusters. With the cluster, I have two wooden pieces, and one's the bird and the bunny. I'm just going to make it look like the bird is coming out of the envelope and then overlap the bunny on the bottom, kind of filling in the spaces. And then once that's done, I take my sentiment, which says "with love," and I'm going to add a couple of foam squares to that to prop it up and then glue it down. And then pretty much what's all is left is adding the ribbon there and add my embellishments. And of course, I'm going to try to use as much of these embellishments as possible. For the ribbon, I did try gluing that down with some white glue. It didn't stick at first, as you'll see, kind of move on me. So then I'll bring out one of those glue dots, and mine are a little bit big, so I just folded it a couple times upon itself and then glued it down, and that will never come off. I did go overboard with the embellishments again. I think it's the mentality of I need to fill this card up. And so I'm trying to put things everywhere. That's my guess, because I normally wouldn't, sometimes I do. Normally I wouldn't just fill a card with a bunch of embellishments. But every time I put one down, I said, oh, there's a space here. Oh, there's a space here. So I just kept putting them down. And this card gets full of little cottontail balls and white flowers and the silver shiny ones. And then, of course, I brought in all these little small ones. And there you go. It's just a bombshell of embellishments on this card. And so here we go. I'm going to show you a close-ups of each card that I created today. And I do hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun trying to get out of my comfort zone of creating really large cards. And I think they turned out quite well, I think. I'm going to pat my own shoulder on this one. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.